there's the type of person who does not understand the bigness of what's happening in this current moment.
Hey, for his friend, I'm a Moose. I talk about the hidden communication and culture of human beings. And I can explain why there's a fundamental misunderstanding between how you see this situation and how the people who don't understand the bigness of the situation see what's going on. Imagine that you've been struggling for a very long time, and most of us can relate to this one way or another, right? Like you're behind on rent and you finally get a big paycheck with a ton of overtime money, right? So not only can you afford it, but you can actually like do something nice for yourself, or like you applied for a job or a school or something like that and you got in and it's like a life-changing opportunity. Okay. That's how they feel about this. Every single headline doesn't just make them feel like the one little, win in life. It makes them feel like all of these feelings and more, all of these situations and more, the positivity that comes from that, it makes them feel that relief. Every single headline, every single policy decision, every single talking point gives them this feeling. And I know this because I get trapped in a fucking tube with these guys for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours doing not much, but having to talk to them about these situations. And it's very clear this is how they feel. So when you argue against the current government in any capacity, it would be the same as going to, a 22-year-old who just got acceptance in like John Hopkins, like med school, right? And saying, hey, actually, this is bad. The only morally correct way out of this is if you instead went to work at an auto shop. And trust me, I understand everything that's going on. The country that my family immigrated from, me with them, to the United States, has gone through the same process, and the people feel the same way, right? The propaganda environment ensures it. The laws that subjugate people and arrest journalists and everything like that, right? It all does its part, okay? The reality doesn't matter. The perception of reality matters to these people. So it's pretty hard to talk to them, and it's hard to give advice on how to do so outside of like a case-by-case basis. But I'm going to make kind of an attempt. So what you can do is take advantage of the moments where they feel rejected by their own decision, because this government is attacking everybody, to include all Americans, whether they understand that's what's happening or not. And eventually these people are going to feel very upset at something that happened to them. Now, they live in a very strong propaganda environment. All the other things are still going to provide them that relief, right? But your job right now to actually reach these people is to capitalize on their disillusionment, however momentary that is. And it might even help to not even mention a policy and simply sympathize with them for the trouble they brought upon themselves. And I know that's hard to do. Oh man, I know you were super excited to buy that car and like its price went up $20,000. Like, that's awful. Just stop right there. Don't get too on the nose about it. Don't go about Trump and terrorists and all that sort of stuff. Just sympathize with them for a second. Like, dude, you're about to afford something and you can't, and then maybe you can make some like vague notion about like recent news, right? But like to immediately credit it towards Republican action is just going to, bring up their defense mechanisms. You don't want to do that, because then they're going to associate the, hardship with the conversation that you're having, not the actual situation that caused it. And then you can kind of hopefully generate some kind of connection to a different government and a more positive outcome. When I bought a car 2 years ago, the prices were way lower and the interest rates were also like manageable. I can't imagine trying to do it right now after everything that's changed. And the less you can reference current events, the better, because every single time, again, all of this news that provides them relief comes out, they are also inundated with defense mechanisms for anybody who talks against it, from the propaganda machine, but also like their previous conditioning. So, if you go too on the nose with the current events, they'll always have something to say about it that'll completely invalidate what you said in their mind. Now, this method is not great, right? Because it feels hard to have personal successes with these people. And you can't control how many other interactions they have with people that are smart enough to capitalize on their disillusionment in a way that doesn't bring up defense mechanisms, right? So altogether, It's kind of how we have to communicate with people. They need to feel safe and empathize with you as an opposition, and they need to feel attacked by the government. The only way to do that is this gradual, very subtle, like imperceptible push, because the moment they get onto you, again, defense mechanisms rise. Anyway, I hope this helps.